So hello everybody, my name is Martin. Welcome to my channel. So today we were riding a 2023 Honda Monkey. So this is a 125 5-speed fuel injected 125cc. So it's a kind of interesting little bike. It's a mini moto, I guess what they refer to these this kind of line, and I got to give credit to Honda for actually making these. It almost feels like it shouldn't be street legal, but you know, it's a fun little bike. It's kind of one of those bikes I always had my eye on when they launched in the US in 2017, I believe, and I think they were a 4-speed, but I think in 2022 they finally came to Canada, and they were a 5-speed at that point. I think a couple little changes happened to it, but basically is the same bike as what was released in 2017. So it's one of those bikes that you just kind of always wanted. I never really seen one in person, and then when I did, I was like, wow, this is a pretty interesting little bike. It's really well made. I mean, it's all steel tank, and we'll have a closer look at it in a little bit, but just to give you an idea of how it rides and everything, it's a beautiful day and we're kind of along a lake shore here, and just wanted to go over a little bit of, you know, a couple of things about the Honda Monkey. So if you're thinking about getting one, you probably won't want this to be your primary bike. Like, it's a fun little tool around bike. Like, you could just take it out for a leisurely ride. I end up riding this endlessly, like just on nice relaxed rides. I got about 4,300 kilometers, so good amount of kilometers on it. I would say, you know, if your expectations are realistic, it's 125cc, so you're not going to be breaking any speed records, but it actually goes pretty good, especially like up to about 75 kilometers per hour. I think if I were to equate what kind of power it has, I would say it would be like you know, a little bit slower than a Honda Civic or something, for example, off a start, like from a light or a stop. So but it does shift really nice. The brakes are good. The front brakes are really good. It does have ABS in the front, so front wheel ABS. The rear brakes are a different story. I don't really like the rear brakes. They're kind of long pedal throw. I maybe have to have a look at it, but it really takes a lot of effort to even just lock them up. I don't even think you even could on dry pavement, but yeah, so I guess my only complaints would be, let's get to that point. The rear brakes would be one. I have this rattle in the headlight, I guess the chrome ring or like that whole assembly that I just can't get rid of. I've taken it apart and bent that tab in a little bit more to give a little bit more pressure, but it still rattles. The suspension's a little bit harsh, so I don't know, I'm about 175 pounds with all my gear on, you know, and all my stuff with me, so 180, 175 pounds. And these little wheels, I believe they're 12-inch wheels. They don't really, you know, go over stuff as good as a bike with bigger wheels. They are kind of like scooter kind of tires, but they are really wide, and they are, the tires that it does come with are like almost a dual purpose tires. So I believe they're 70-30 tires or 60-40 off-road, so not bad. There, I've had this bike on some gravel roads and little mild trails and stuff. It's fun. It's kind of a blast. It really does handle really good. Like, it's just so nimble. You could just whip this bike around. I've scraped the pegs in some turns. So from that aspect, it's kind of like a silly little bike. I don't know. You could just kind of just do silly things on it. It's just fun. I haven't met anybody that doesn't like this bike. I mean, it's funny, you go to a coffee shop or something, you see all these guys on Harleys and everything. You pull in for a coffee, you have a coffee, and everybody comes in swarms. Oh, is that the Honda Monkey? I've never seen one. So I haven't met a person that doesn't like it. So Yeah, it's neat. It's a neat bike to have. It's a fun bike to ride on roads like this. You know, obviously I'm not doing any highway riding on this bike, but it does comfortably hold about 85 to 90 kilometers per hour. So I don't know, what's that, 50, 55 miles an hour. Um, it doesn't seem to be even screaming at that point, so it's not like the engine feels stressed even at that speed, but it is not bad. So for secondary roads, you know where the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. Um, I am pretty comfortable with keeping up with traffic, and if you pick your route and kind of go a way that's not really busy, I mean, you have the whole road to yourself and you're having a lot of fun. What else do I not like about this bike? There's the switch gear. I'm not a fan of this switch gear. So like the turn signals and the horn. I don't know why Honda places the horn and turn signal kind of opposite of other bikes. Usually, my other bikes have the horn on the bottom and the turn signal switch a little bit higher. So you end up kind of, when you first get this bike, you're always honking the horn instead of canceling the turn signal, and it just has a really bad tactical feel to it. It just, overall, I don't really like that switch gear too much. So really harshness in the rear suspension and front suspension. You know, that rear brake pedal effort and the switch, like the turn signal switch gear. Not a fan of it. But other than that, let's get to the good things about this bike. So it's actually got like inverted forks, so upside down forks, ABS, really nice tires. I like these tires on the street. I like them on gravel. I like them kind of on everything that I guess this bike would be capable of doing. It's very nice that way. Um, the suspension now going the other way, like big bumps, like I said, is very harsh, but it's actually pretty well sorted out. I just wish it had a little more travel, so when you do hit like a big pothole or something, your teeth don't fall out of your head. But it will jar you on big extreme bumps, so that's one thing I don't like about it. The lighting is very good. It's got LED headlight, LED tail light. The high beam works really well, so actually pretty impressed for factory, you know, little headlight. It does work really well. I don't really have any complaints about lighting. The gauge is kind of nice. It does have like a fuel gauge. I find it a little bit weird in the way it acts, but for the most part, it does give you an idea of how much fuel you got in your range. I find I get right around 230 kilometers out of a tank. So this is a 5-liter tank. 230, 250, depending on if I'm just doing a lot of rural road driving at max speed. You're basically full throttle all the time, maintaining 85, 90 kilometers per hour. So that would be working out to about 2 liters per 100 kilometers, and this should be getting 100 miles per gallon. And I guess in a situation like this where you're not going fast, I'm pretty sure it would hit, like, you know, that liter per 100 kilometer kind of fuel consumption. So that's good. It's a very high quality bike, actually. Like, nice cast wheels. Everything's chrome and steel on it. Besides these switches, which are really bad, the gauge is nice. Some people say they have issues with reading it. It's kind of like a negative LCD display. It is backlit. Yeah, I don't really have a problem reading it either during the day or night, but I'm not sure if they're referring to other years. I believe they changed this display just a little bit over the years, but it reads pretty good. I wish it kind of had a clock. That's one thing I like to have, is know what time it is. So, but other than that, when we take a break here, I'll get you a little bit close-up look. It's kind of a neat little toy if it's something you could afford and have in your lineup. It is kind of interesting, and there's really no other bike like it in these mini moto range. It's kind of fun. What other thing, you know, I am about 6'1", 6'2" in height, got a long inseam, but I do find that I actually fit on this bike quite comfortably. So kind of surprising that that you do, you know, fit on it, for being that height. You know, ergonomically, I don't know how they pulled this thing off, because it, you know, standing next to it, it comes up to my knee or whatever, but um, riding it is very comfy. The seat is very big and plush, so no problems with the seat. It's got a good angle, and it is really plush, so very comfortable place to be. It's not really buzzy. Even at that top speed, cruising 85, 90 kilometers per hour, it just rides really nice. And I don't know how they pulled off the geometry and everything, but it feels like just a normal full-size bike, only you're just right close to the ground. It does you know, do everything pretty good that you would expect out of a bike. I actually measured, I had a Suzuki DR200, and I actually measured that rider triangle, so like from the bars to the peg to the seat, so that triangle there was identical to a Suzuki DR200. So that's pretty impressive. That's like a full-size bike. I don't know, 34-inch seat height. So the actual cockpit that you're sitting in is actually very, very comfortable. Um, Feels like a kind of full-size bike when you're riding it, but then when you get off it, you're like, oh, how was I riding this little thing? But it's pretty interesting how they pulled it off. Uh, it does it's even really stable at those high speeds. So like when you're doing, see, there was a big bump that just kind of jarred me, but if you are doing 90 kilometers per hour, it's actually really stable. It's not jumpy or darty, or it actually just feels like a regular bike, like as if you were riding a full-size bike. So let's uh let's have a little bit of a closer look of it, and I'll go through what mods I've done, and we'll pick it up from there. Okay, so here we are having a little bit of a closer look up close. So basically, let's get to some mods, what mods I've done to this bike. So I have installed this little side rack here, and this little bag. This is all off of I think AliExpress. So this bag was really cheap. I think it was like $13. I actually had to modify it a little to mount it, and this little chrome side bag mount, but that's pretty handy for just bringing water or whatever you need to bring with you when you're out on a ride. And I also installed heated grips. So I put these are, I kind of have these on all my bikes. These are like Amazon kind of special, just heated grips. They're like $25. I really like the fact that this controller is integrated into the side of the grip, so you don't have to worry about that. And I did wire it all under the seat. So I've got actually a relay that's to the keyed ignition, and it's fused independently, so I don't have to worry about shutting the bike off and leaving the grips on. And I also installed these mirror extensions. So these, they kick the mirrors out about 3 inches, because I just couldn't see around myself with the mirrors. I just see my shoulder all the time. So these really help. Now they're perfect. So just having that a little bit further out makes me see a little better. So, and then just up close looking at this switch gear, I mean, typically I remember horns being on the bottom of all my other bikes, and this turn signal being kind of mid-bar here, but it's got a really awful kind of tactical feel to it. That's one gripe I have about the bike. The other thing, one thing that I wish they would have kind of made a little bit better is this side cover. So it is keyed, like you take your ignition key to open it, but it's kind of pops into these rubber grommets, and inside there is the toolkit. And that toolkit is, it's not bad. It's just got a couple things, like a big long Allen screw to take off the seat, and it also has, you know, a screwdriver and pliers and whatever. I also put my ownership and stuff in there, because you do need a key, so I don't have to carry my insurance and ownership on me. I just leave it on the bike. But I wish this was a little bit easier to take off. It's a little bit cumbersome to get off. It's kind of hard to get it out of those rubber grommets. So I wish that was like more accessible, so you could actually, there's quite a bit of space inside that cover, so it would be good if they had a little bit of a
like easier access to it, so you could get, you know, your things in and out. But it actually does have a helmet lock here, so that's kind of interesting. You know, something you normally don't see on a little bike like this. And then coming over to the front, so you do have these tires. They're V rubber tires, so they are slightly off-road. They're 120/80/12, so they're pretty wide tire. I mean, for the size of the bike, it's got a pretty wide tire. And again, front wheel ABS. You know, nice front forks, like a steel tank, and this is kind of like a gas cap that you would see on, you know, the CB500 or any other Honda kind of line. It's got a nice exhaust. It actually doesn't sound that bad. It's got a little bit of sound to it, so it's not horrible. I was toying with putting on like an aftermarket exhaust or something. I just haven't got around to that. Really just been riding it a lot. Like I said, I got 4,300 kilometers on it now, so it's a good amount of kilometers. So I've been riding it quite a bit. Again, the seat really soft, really big. I really like that seat. The rims are actually really nice. They're really dirty right now, but they are like kind of metallic. They're nice looking rims, kind of cast honeycomb pattern. The only thing that I was kind of thinking about getting a skid plate or something, because this is so exposed, and you know, if you go on any kind of gravel roads, I can hear rocks pinging off the case and the engine case and everything. So I wouldn't mind putting a skid plate or something just to mainly stop rocks from kicking up. The one thing other thing, one of my pet peeves is this chain. This chain is horrible. It's a non-O-ring chain. It needs very frequent adjustment, and I know there's a lot of upgrades that you can do on that chain. You can, you know, put an O-ring chain, but apparently it does actually rob some top speed away from you because of just that friction from the O-rings. You do get a little bit of loss of power because you're only dealing with 9 horsepower here, so I guess that extra resistance, you lose a couple kilometers off your top speed. Other than that, it's pretty interesting. And then let's have a little bit look at the display. I like this kind of power up animation here, where the little eyes blink at you, and you just have basically your trip meters to reset. You have your ABS light, turn signal, high beam, check engine light because it is fuel injected, and a neutral indicator. And then you can see there your fuel level, speed, and your trip or odometer if you want to go through it. But yeah, that's pretty good. It does have like a running light. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it during the day, but the headlight doesn't come on until you start the bike. So it actually has like a daytime running light, or I guess a park mode that you can just, I guess, so people can see you when the bike isn't running. And again, it has LED tail light. It's very bright actually, so that's really good. And then the suspension is non-adjustable. You can't even adjust the spring tension on it. Oil changes are really simple. I mean, you basically have your drain plug right here, oil filter right here, and oil fill. And I do like that it has this sight. I really like that on bikes. It makes it so easy to add oil and just know what your level is. You know, just level the bike and check your oil level. And then again, this back brake needs so much travel. Like, I wish it was a little better. I might have to look into that or maybe adjust it. But other than that, it's a pretty interesting little bike. It's very fun. It's very tiny. It kind of feels almost silly to be riding it, but it does handle really good, and it's extremely nimble. So let's go to a little bit of a speed test. So I'll put some stats up on the screen, and we'll look at its top speed and see kind of what this thing can do. All right, so here we're giving it a little bit of a ride. So it's funny, this is probably one of the only bikes I can do a speed test on without even breaking the law, so that's kind of funny. But let's do a little from the stop here. It's totally empty street, but let's see how it does.
This is full throttle. We're going 67, 75, 80. So now I'm full throttle. Now we're cruising about 90 kilometers per hour, so I'm showing 90. These speedometers are usually showing faster by 5 kilometers per hour. But let me tuck in here and see what we can get out of this thing. So that's 96, 97. So that's about the highest top speed, is about just shy of 100. I've had it actually doing 105, but like that's downhill with the wind at my back, but not bad, not bad. And that, you know, top speed there, like in a full tuck, trying to get whatever I could out of the thing, you know, that was 97 I think I saw there, so about 93 actual kilometers per hour. But like, for example, here I'm just riding normally. This is an 80 zone, so I'm already doing about 80, 75. Got another, so I just went into fifth at 80. But here, let's just see, like just comfortably cruising, I'm showing 87, 88 kilometers per hour. So that's probably right around, you know, 83, 84 actual kilometers per hour. But it's very comfortable here. It's not struggling at all. The motor doesn't seem stressed out. So this is pretty much my cruising speed. It'll do this all day, and I do it all day, but it handles like these secondary roads really well. It's got a giant bee in my helmet, but so yeah, that's performance you can kind of expect out of it. It's pretty quick, you know, off the line, and then right at about 70 kilometers per hour, you're kind of struggling for power there. But that's not bad performance, and like I said, for these secondary roads, it's actually totally adequate for keeping up with traffic. I never really had a problem. It's a neat little bike, something to consider. I guess you got a better idea about its performance, but it's, you know, it's something that I love taking it on these like hot summer night leisurely rides, and just having this super nimble bike. It's kind of fun. I noticed I've seen some groups of these guys riding on Groms and Monkeys and those Z125s. Every time I saw them, I was in a car, but I thought, man, that would be fun, like 20, 30 guys on Monkeys, and they're all going around and riding, and so that would be kind of fun to cruise with a whole bunch of these little mini motos. But I hope you enjoyed that little overview of the Honda Monkey. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment. I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.